It's time for the final game of 1993. We're really coming to an end now. And perhaps the biggest sign of that end time is that this is the final Kunio game on the Famicom. Nekketsu Street Basket marks the 12th outing for everyone's favorite high school punk. It is also the final Famicom game from the company that Kunio built, Technos Japan. The rise to fame really began with that first Kunio game. In it, they added a third dimension to the beat-em-up, making a new genre that had become very popular throughout all of video games. Almost everything they published was a Kunio game, though they also did the Kunio spin-off series Double Dragon, and for some reason Sugoro Quest. Yeah, I don't know how that one got in there. While Kunio might have started out as a beat-em-up, he quickly transitioned to sports, and all of Technos' Kunio sports games turned that sport into a full-contact experience. The most significant of these would be Nekketsu Koko Dodgeball Boo, which kicked off dodgeball as a video game genre. That might not sound like much, but there's a lot more dodgeball games out there than you might realize. The Kunio series doesn't last much longer after this, mainly because Technos Japan doesn't last much longer after this. Sales on Kunio games had been slumping, and they didn't really transition to 16-bit consoles very well. They had also been constructing a new, very expensive corporate headquarters, and thanks to sales drying up and the Japanese economy faltering, Technos suddenly ran out of money. And when I say suddenly, I mean very suddenly. If you were just playing games, the company might have appeared fine, with a full release schedule in 1994 and 1995, and then at the end of December 1995, they just closed the doors. The American branch managed to hold on for just a few more months, squeezing out a tiny handful of titles, but Technos Japan was done. For Kunio's last 8-bit outing, he takes on a new sport, basketball. The game has a subtitle, Ganbare Dunk Heroes, or Go For It Dunk Heroes, which I think makes this the most energetically titled basketball game out there. The plot is that Kunio wins a trip to the United States on a quiz show. Some of Kunio's friends and sometimes rivals sneak along with him and get Kunio to participate in a nationwide basketball tournament. Your goal in the game is to defeat all 7 teams from around the country. You have to beat all of them twice, once on their home turf and once on the Niagara Falls court, which acts as Kunio's home base. Every match is 2-on-2, but you have 4 possible players, and so before every match, you can swap someone out. Really though, you're probably going to want to stick to Kunio and Riki. You can also give them equipment, which you'll receive as gifts from teams that you beat, and that will boost your stats. On the court, well, it's basketball without fouls, so you can beat up everyone you like. You only control one of the players, the other one will always be under computer control. And before the match, you can even do a little bit of configuration on how you want it to behave. The best approach I found was to have the computer just constantly go for the easy shots. You can go for the big plays, but unless somebody's picking the low-hanging fruit, you're probably not going to score enough points. Most courts have 3 levels of baskets. You get 3 points for making it in the bottom tier or middle tier, and 4 points for scoring in the top tier. Which means if you're really lucky, and the ball drops straight down from the top, then you can get 10 points with one shot. Well, 10 points with one shot at the start of either half. Yeah, they play halves, not quarters, go figure. It's possible to knock a hoop off, and then you can stick it to your own board. Each backboard can have 3 hoops, so the actual maximum number of points you could get with one shot is 21. It's probably not going to happen though, especially since the hoops get reset at the start of the second half. Also, if your hoop gets knocked down, the computer will keep trying to shoot it anyways, so the AI has a bit of a hole there. For your controls, A passes and B shoots in the direction that you're facing, which does mean if you react to something and hit B, then you could score points for the other team. You can double tap in a direction to run, and pressing A and B simultaneously will jump. Do it again while you're in the air and you can double jump. If you don't have the ball, then A kicks, B punches, and B also picks things up. Items that you're carrying are shot or passed using buttons just like the basketball. When you're getting a rebound, the bouncing ball will automatically snap into your hands, but if it's come to rest, then you have to hit B to pick it up. This does mean there will be some unclear situations where you press B to pick up the ball, but you've already grabbed it and now you're taking a shot. Everyone has super moves and special abilities that they can do, and activating them is a little bit tricky, because there's a very precise window where you can jump or take a shot, and then you'll do your super move of jumping really high or making the ball do something special. This moment where you can use your special ability isn't really signaled, so all you can do is practice and try to get a feel for it. Most of the arenas have something special to them that changes how you play, though your home court at Niagara Falls doesn't really have anything. In New York, you can jump down to the subway and pop out at the other side of the court. And on the aircraft carrier, there's a conveyor belt constantly carrying things off. If you manage to beat an opponent, then you'll get some clothes from them, and then you'll have a new password. If you're defeated, then nothing really happens. You just go back to the screen where you pick an opponent. You can just keep trying until you beat everyone. There is one limitation on your selection of opponents. If you're playing a home game or a visitor game, alternates with every team that you beat. So if you've already beaten somebody on your home court, and you're going to be playing a home game next, then you can't pick them again for that. This doesn't seem to be one of the more popular Kunio games in Japan. People don't seem to like how the controls work, and they really hate the team that can teleport around the court. It also draws some complaint, because copies are extremely rare, and there's enough Kunio collectors around that prices on it are sky high. Nekketsu Street Basket is another member of the 10,000 Yen Club, where you could expect to spend 10,000 yen for a cartridge-only copy. I actually like the game quite a bit. It's a little bit clunky, and I really don't like how the screen stays focused on the ball rather than on you, though I get why that happens since otherwise you couldn't see the really high-up baskets. But it means that there will be long chunks of time where you can't see what you're doing on the court. Also, you can get locked in position by an aggressive enemy while they just keep dunking on you over and over again. On the other hand, it's easy to lock down your opponents by beating them up constantly, while your AI partner just makes easy layups. It's not a simple game. You're gonna get beaten up in your first few matches, but once you have a feel for how to control the opposing team, you'll have an easier time. I don't think it's my favorite of the Kunio sports games. I think the first soccer one would be my favorite of those, but Nekketsu Street Basket is a good time. So long, Kunio. It's been fun.